So the Nigerian Civil War, government students, let's learn. So the Nigerian Civil War started on July 6th, 1967, and came to an end on January 15th, 1970. Historians believe that it lasted for 130 weeks and 4 days. Major General Philip Effiong, the chief of defense staff of the Republic of Biafra, formally renounced the existence of the state called Biafra. And many historians also believe that the exercise took place at Jordan Barracks, Lagos on January 15, 1970. I was not there. Now, let's look at some of the remote causes or the immediate causes of the Civil War. Let's look at the immediate cause of the Civil War. Now, it is allegedly believed that there was mass killings of the Igbos in the north. So the killing was seen as a reaction to the January 15 coup, where some of the northern leaders were killed, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Sir Ahmadu Bello, the governor of the eastern region, and because the governor of the eastern region asked non-easterners living in the east to leave at that time. He asked all the Igbos to leave. So there was that was more like a prelude to the war. Yeah. So there was mass killing of Igbos in the north. Now, head of state. Um, Lieutenant Colonel Yakubu Gowon took over as head of state instead of Brigadier Ogundipe, who was allegedly the most senior military officer then too. So Ojukwu saw this or he felt that this is unjustifiable, noting that Yakubu Gowon was not a senior in the army, so he refused to take instructions from him. So if you look at it very well, discover that instead of having Brigadier Ogundipe, who was the most senior, we had Lieutenant Colonel Yakubu Gowon, and then the feud began. So war. So both characters, Ojukwu and Yakubu Gowon, they saw war as an unjustifiable, or they saw it as the only justifiable means of resolving the conflict. So secession. So in May 30, 1967, the independence of Biafra was declared, and then uh, after the federal government had created 12 states out of the former four regions. And then another reason is the Aburi Declaration in Ghana. So general, the failure of General Gowon to implement his own side of the agreement at Aburi in Ghana was another cause of the civil war. Some people allegedly say that it was Chief Obafemi Awolowo that did not allow that to happen because he had to school Yakubu Gowon on some of the things that he was not aware of. So the meeting was at the instance of the Ghanaian head of state, General Ankara, and it was held around January 4 and 5th, 1967. So the Civil War was. So okay, let's look at some of the remote causes. The army was politicized. There was this marriage between the army and politics, which was not from the start, but because of misappropriation, maladministration, lack of accountancy, mismanagement of funds, there was what we call the politicization of the army. The army was politicized. There was ethnic sentiment, and promotion was based on some of these things. And then they saw that a lot of things were going on that they had to get involved. Now, another one is the killing of political leaders. The killing of civilian political leaders by the 1996 coup plotters and General Aguiyi-Irosi's refusal to try them was also another major reason. Now, the killing of some of them, e.g., Tafawa Balewa, Ahmadu Bello, S.L. Akintola, actually aggrieved some of these guys. So they argued that none of those that killed, none of those that were killed was an able person. So the next one is unity form of government. So General Aguiyi-Ironsi also came to power and introduced unity form of government in the place of federal system. And then so many people were angered, lost. And then tribal domination. There was this fear that one tribe would dominate. They saw the Igbos dominating the army. They saw that they staged the coup and all that. So there was a counter coup 6 months after. That was in July 29, 1966. So the first military coup that happened in January 15, 1966 was seen as Igbo coup. Don't forget that the first military coup in Africa happened in Egypt in 1952. And the first in West Africa is Togo in 1963. So that's just a brief about the Civil War. But we can also look at the positive and negative consequences. For the positive consequences, we have territorial integrity. The territorial integrity of Nigeria was maintained as a nation. Number two, secession. The Civil War reduced the possibility of a secession by any ethnic group or state. Then the central government became more powerful. After the Civil War, the central government became more powerful. There was creation of more states. The confidence of the federal government in OAU became stronger, and then there was technological advancement because it was the Civil War that allowed Nigeria as a nation to look into technology. Then we look at the negative consequence, look at cost. The war cost the nation money. Displacement of families were displaced. Currency policy of the federal government made a lot of people to become very, very poor. Then disruption of the educational sector. The educational sector was disrupted. Our image was dented overseas. Growth of urban areas. There was mass exodus of people from the rural setting towns and cities in search of jobs and livelihood and all of these things. And there was economic standstill. So during that process, there was economic standstill. Many factories, many industries stopped working. So the Civil War is just quite an unfortunate event that a lot of people do not really like to talk about. You understand? So there were a lot of things that students need to know about this process. This is just a summary of the Civil War.